You know who looks like the surprise team in the Big 12? The Arizona Wildcats. They play Kansas State this Friday at home. I bet if you had gotten a line on this game before the season started, it would have been somewhere in the neighborhood of Kansas State minus 10 to Kansas State minus 12. The Wildcats of Kansas State were seen as a Big 12 title contender. They still could be, perhaps. Do what Utah did years ago in the Pac-12, start 1-2 in non-conference play, and then once league play ramps up, start playing your best ball. That's entirely possible. They could do it. Do you realize that when the Wildcats from Manhattan go to the Wildcats in Tucson on Friday night, the Kansas State version of that particular animal is favored by just 1.5 points? That's because through 2 games against inferior competition, Arizona looks, wait for it, more than competent. They have put up 88 points, averaging 44 per game in their 2 matchups with Hawaii and Weber State. They have conceded 6 and 3 points. That may not sound like a lot, just because it's Hawaii and Weber State. Remember that this is an Arizona program that last year was riddled with dysfunction, was riddled with poor play, was riddled with turnovers, and so far, I'm watching Noah Fifita play 2 games. I don't really care who it's against. The confidence has to be pretty high. He hasn't thrown an interception yet. Arizona has not torn it up running the football, but again, 44 points per game and 4.5 points per game allowed. Just think about this. If you think I'm overreacting to those 2 games, I totally get it. I hear you. Just let me make this point. If coming into the season, you'd seen Arizona as a preseason Big 12 title contender and they had those 2 outcomes, wouldn't those 2 games just be justifying what you thought about them coming into the season? Imagine if it was Arizona State, who of course has been ridiculously dropped from the top 25. Mississippi State hasn't been entered in. I don't know. Florida State only won 2 games last year, beat Alabama. They're both ranked. Instead, Mississippi State and Arizona State are both unranked, which makes absolutely positively no sense. But as we know, the AP voters, some of them don't even think or care about what they're doing, which is awesome to see since it legitimately influences the sport. Anyway, if you thought Arizona was Arizona State coming into the year, or Iowa State, or Kansas State, for that matter. If preseason Texas Tech, some people, me, had number 1 in the power rankings for the Big 12 coming into the season, played those 2 games against Hawaii and against Weber State, and had those 2 scores of an average score of 44 to 4.5, which isn't possible, but you get what I'm going for here. Wouldn't you say, oh, they look just like I thought they were? I thought they were one of the best teams in the Big 12. So Arizona looks good. Now they have the chance to prove it. Chance to prove it here against Kansas State in a game that I think can define Kansas State's season. I legitimately think Kansas State's season is on the line right here. They lost a tight one to Iowa State because they couldn't convert a couple of 4th down situations offensively and defensively. And then they got upset by Army on their home field, who lost to an FCS program the week prior. I mean, it's not good for Chris Kleiman and company. If you go on the road and lose to a team that people saw as being bottom of the conference coming into the year because they were bottom of the conference last year, hey, maybe last year's Arizona State is this year's Arizona. Maybe that's just what they do down there in the desert. But you know what? I was about to pick Kansas State to win the game. I don't know what I have to feel good about. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to take the Wildcats. Ha, see, I could have just tricked you and left that out there, but I'm not that much of a dweeb. So I'm taking Kansas State to win the game because their season is on the line. I think they finally figure it out. But if they lose their first Big 12 game, this could spiral a la Florida State last year, who also lost a tight one in Ireland and then had a 2-10 campaign. So I think Kansas State avoids that here, and they go and get this done. You've got to find a way to get Avery Johnson settled in throwing the ball. I think Tucson should be on fire. Fans should show up. This is a big, big game for Arizona and Brent Brennan, who is kind of coaching for his job after the disaster of last season. Speaking of exciting games in the Big 12, here's one of my best bets for the week and a preview of Friday's best bet segment here at Locked On College Football. West Virginia plus 7.5. I have a rule, and it usually works out pretty well. Not all the time, but usually. In a rivalry game, take the points. Take the point. This is not a 100% hit rate, but when you are getting 7.5 points at home, coming off a week in which you were embarrassed by Ohio, West Virginia had one of the worst losses for the Big 12 last week. They lost to Ohio, but they were on the road. Now they come back home. It's the Backyard Brawl. This is one of the most underrated rivalries in all of college football. I cannot wait to watch it. It's going to be really fun. It always is. Eli Holstein is still there as Pitt's quarterback. I think Pitt wins the game. No doubt about it. Because they're the better football team. I don't expect much from West Virginia in Rich Rodriguez's first season. And Goldstein so far this year, over 70% completion rate. He has thrown a couple of interceptions, but he's thrown 8 touchdowns in the 2 games that Pitt has played so far. They've rolled against inferior competition, but they're going on the road. This is going to be the best team that they have played so far, even though West Virginia, I don't think, is all that good. I will take them to win 31-27. Give me the Panthers to win, but give me the Mountaineers to cover. This is a big-time rivalry game. I hope plenty of you tune in to see the spectacle that's going to exist in Morgantown on Saturday, because you got to understand, just generally speaking, that rivalries are one of the things that separate college football from everything else in the NFL. And this is one of those games. You can, whether it's the Backyard Brawl, the Holy War between BYU and Utah, you got to know. You got to know. You got to watch. It needs to be the sort of appointment television that you think about with the game between Ohio State and Michigan, or the Iron Bowl between Alabama and Auburn. You got to be able to tune into these games because there aren't that many. They only come around so often, and they are just so much darn fun. So I like Pitt this week. Sorry to my guy Mountaineer Paul over at Locked On West Virginia, but I'm taking Pitt 31-27, West Virginia, and the points. One of my best bets for the week. The rest of them, those will show up tomorrow. Appreciate everyone listening. I will see you next time, and until then, hope you all have a wonderful rest of your day.